The spreadsheet said yes. My financial planner said yes. The 4% rule said yes. Every single number lined up in a neat, terrifying row, and I was still afraid. Not of running out of money, of something else entirely. Something the spreadsheet could not see, could not name, could not solve. Something I am about to tell you the truth about. If you are staring at a resignation letter you have not sent, this is for you. If the spreadsheet says yes, and you are still afraid, then you know the feeling I am describing. This is for the woman who counts the days in boxes on a calendar, marking off time with a sense of both accomplishment and dread. For the woman who knows the math is sound, who has done all the responsible things and yet lies awake at night, listening to the house settle and wondering what comes next. At 7:42 a.m., I made my coffee and felt a tight panic as the machine sputtered to life. The number was there, 1.2 million. My planner, David, circled it and said, "You can stop." I folded the papers and put them in the bottom drawer. I told my colleagues I was fine, triumphant. The food tasted like cardboard. Each pull of tape felt definitive. No victory, just a profound quiet. I feared losing the role that told me who I was. For 25 years, I was the person with meetings at 9. People said my name. They asked for my opinion. My identity was woven into deadlines, projects, performance reviews. The first week after I left, I still woke with a jolt at 6:30. There were no fires to put out. After 10 minutes, I closed the lid. I hid it like a guilty secret. That was the day I stopped pretending to be productive, without the title, without the office, without the team. Who was I? The question hung there. What once felt like a burden had held me up. Without it, I began to collapse. I was a ghost, haunting the halls of my former life. The fear was formless, like trying to grasp smoke. It was the empty space on the calendar, the silence where the phone used to ring. My life had been goals, metrics, milestones. Now I stood at the edge of a vast, undefined expanse. The spreadsheet could tell me I had enough. It could not tell me I would be enough. Numbers were a map of where I'd been, not where I was going. I was navigating without a compass. The silence from the cockpit was deafening. I would sit with my morning tea, the cup warm in my hands. I traced the patterns on the porcelain, the scent of bergamot, the weight of the ceramic. The light hit the wall at a slightly different angle each day. Still, the feeling persisted, a quiet hum beneath the day. A reminder of something missing, the human variable, uncalculated. Just me, alone with my thoughts. I feared how my marriage would change. 2 demanding schedules had set our metronome. I imagined leisurely lunches, spontaneous weekday adventures. Instead, we bumped like strangers in a narrow hallway, out of sync. The calls were logistical check-ins, tasks offloaded to me. He missed the woman who left at 7:30, briefcase in hand. We fought about milk. It was not about milk. He said, "I don't even know what you do all day." The words landed like stones. Our shared maps were obsolete. We needed a new one. We were in different time zones under the same roof. The hallway felt narrower than ever. The silence in my inbox was the most profound silence of all. It sounded like irrelevance. I was not prepared to hear it. I had planned for financial independence, not the existential void. Maybe you have your own version of this? That was the day I stopped pretending. They looked the same, but they felt different. Empty, small, and somehow brave. I wrote the word afraid on a clean page, and then I kept writing. The turn came slowly, not a flash, a dawning. The sentence was this: I am allowed to be afraid and to keep my money. Not a philosophy, not a plan, a permission slip. Said out loud, it was less a failing, more a simple fact, like brown eyes, like rain. It did not need fixing. or conquering. It needed acknowledgement. I said it at 8:15 a.m. in the kitchen, at 11 p.m. in the dark. It did not mend everything. It changed the language in my head. What I know now is quiet and small, learned not in a boardroom but at home. Money buys choices. It cannot buy a new name when the old one is gone. Marriage after decades must be redrawn with care, not assumed. Grief shows up for small losses too. On a Tuesday, mid-shore, fear can sit beside the facts. It does not have to rule them. If I could tell my earlier self one thing, name the fear. Say it out loud. Write it down. Let it be a place to stand, not a cage. It is not a plan, not a promise, just a true sentence with boundaries. A first step toward footing on uncertain ground. Carry this into your week, a small tool to hold. Replace the impossible question, what will I do, with a simple sentence, I am allowed to be afraid and to keep my money. Try it at 9 a.m. when the day feels empty, at 3 p.m. when the sadness hits. It will not erase fear. It can soften its edges, make it a companion, not a master. I will not give you steps or a path. Your path is your own, but I will give you words. Words have weight. If this gave words to something you have been feeling, the channel is built for that. New reflections every Sunday. I'll see you in the next one.